people, welcome! Another week, another video. As always, I'm getting pretty decent at this, so if you're enjoying the content, smash the like button, especially if you're enjoying this video, smash the like button again. So today, from the title, you'll have seen that the video is going to be about my experience with bulking and how my body weight transformation has changed, where I'm at in life and where I was, and of course to finish, within the video there will be tips and tricks if you are here to try and figure out why the bulking season is not working for you. I'm here to give you tips and tricks alongside that. So again, like button, subscribe if you're not already, and let me start this video with a little bit of a story. So 12 months ago I was this guy, 67 kilograms, not motivated, not goal driven, purely training for aesthetics rather than anything else. Always hungry, low sex drive, the list goes on. It just wasn't a very good place being at such a low body fat. I think when I worked it out, I was around about 9 or 8% body fat, and as I've said, 67 kilograms. Sadly, no proof of the scales, but you gotta trust me, I was that way. It got to a point where I needed to change all of that because it was becoming quite uncomfortable. And recently Paisley told me that when we would see each other and we'd be chilling in bed, that I'd be able to feel the bones in my hips when lying on me, and now she can't, so that's good news. But hopefully, Paisley, when you're watching this, it doesn't mean I'm getting a dad bod, does it? That's not where I want to be. So yeah, here I am now, 82 kilograms this morning. I think I'll be a little bit heavier by the time I posted this, but yeah, it's a great place to be. I'm happier. So before I go into depth of my story with tips and tricks, let's talk about what bulking actually is, because some people in the video probably have no idea. So bulking is putting on body weight through being in a calorie surplus, okay? And a calorie surplus is basically eating more than for the amount you currently move, therefore putting on body weight. Now, there is two very well-known ways of doing this. There is a clean bulk and there is a dirty bulk. Now, it started off in February 2020 when lockdown started, of me being in a clean bulk. Now, everyone has a different definition of what clean is to those, but to me, eating clean is not having many takeaways, not having much sugar or fats in your life, and a dirty bulk is just eating whatever you can to get in those calories. And as I said, I started the year off really well, being in a clean bulk, putting on weight slowly and sensibly. And then when it got to November, when we was in another lockdown, or December kind of time, it was just a little bit more dirty. Not saying it wasn't a good thing for me, because I really did enjoy it, but it just was tactical, and it meant that I'd put on a little bit more body fat in comparison to muscle mass. But we will get into that in a little bit more depth. First, shall we take a seat, get comfortable? I think that's fair.
One eternity later. Eventually.
So right, my story, where was I? In 2020, lockdown kicked in. Didn't really feel like training. Had to get into a new routine which I didn't like the sound of, and basically hungry all the time, not enjoying myself. So I knew that I had to make a change. And with limited equipment going into lockdown, so I think I literally had nothing to start with. So I had body weight movements and running. I decided to invest in a little bit of equipment, but if you remember, 2020 February, everybody wanted equipment, so it was expensive. So I managed to purchase myself a medicine ball, a core bag, and a suspension trainer at first. And as a personal trainer, you're renowned for coming up with wacky, stupid workout ideas, which I wasn't a fan of. I wanted stuff which was already planned for me and which made sense. So I Googled WODs, okay? So WOD is a workout of the day, and basically this was all formatted around a sport called CrossFit, which at this moment I knew nothing about pretty much. So we got into this in lockdown in 2020, and I was running using the TRX, throwing around, oh, I also had a kettlebell, sorry, running, throwing a kettlebell around using the TRX and putting all together these WODs basically. And I actually found it really enjoyable. I found myself in a position where I was training 5, 6, 7 times a week doing all of this. Although doing so much, which was stupid of me, I got on well. I do blame something else, and if you know the story, you're a true OG on this channel.
Nice.
But gave me another 2 weeks off, and from that moment there, I knew that I had to get on track of my scheduling with training, with eating enough foods, because when I was doing these WODs, I was doing them, but not well enough to my standards. I was always hungry, very low energetic and libido, and I just knew that I had to get on top of where I wanted to be. So we got to around May, and I started logging my food for the first time in years, which I'd been preaching to clients. And I've finally followed, I finally practiced what I preached and started using MyFitnessPal. Now, to start off with, I worked out my calories on the Harris and Benedict formula, put them in, and discovered that I needed to eat around about 2,000 calories a day for the amount I currently moved. So that at that point sounded like a lot. So I was trying to figure out ideas of what to eat. I also had to make sure I was getting a decent amount of protein, which again is tip number 1. If you are starting a bulk, you need to make sure that you log your calories, and most importantly, you track your protein. Now, if you're on a clean bulk versus a dirty bulk, that would depend on whether you want to have less fats in your diet or more fats, but that's not what I preach, that's not what I'm about. I was just eating a little cleaner, trying to go for quality foods. Right, we're back. It's the next day, and I'm here to continue the story of where I left off. Sadly, had to train and didn't realise the time, so I'm back. It's Tuesday, and we're going to continue where we left off. So tip number 2 is to monitor your progression. Now, what I mean by this is the start of your journey, you need to take photos, front, side, back, up close, tensing, not tensing, something I wish I did from the very beginning when I was so light. You need to take pictures of your weight, but bear in mind, if you are one of these people, you've got to understand that your weight will fluctuate, and if you have eating disorders or any kind of weight disorder, I wouldn't recommend that. But for someone like myself who understands that, that's what I wish I did. Although I did get certain weight pictures and certain pictures which I'm going to pop on the screen for you to view, of when I was around 67 kilograms, building all the way up to a current weight which I'm at now. And again, that's a massive tip for you guys. I recommend that when you are trying to bulk, you monitor your progression so you can see how far you've come. And what I've found is when I used to bulk quite a lot, I used to get to a weight and then go back down because I'd hit it. And it's the same with losing weight. You'd get to a weight you want to be or a place you want to be, and then you'd just give up. So monitoring your progression is a great way to make sure that you do stay on top of things to see how far you've came. Tip number 3, if you are training, which you should be, in a bulk, in a surplus, you want to prioritize your strength training. Now, what I mean by this is weightlifting, okay? And we want to make sure that we prioritize our strength training and that we lift a little bit heavier than we would normal. Now, we want to make sure that when we are bulking, we are putting on muscle rather than fat. What happened to me was that I had no equipment, as mentioned before, so I do a lot more cardio than I'd eat a lot more food. And even though they were good quality foods, because you're in a surplus, you're still going to put on a bit of body fat, which again for the time wasn't a bad thing. But over the long run, body fat percentage increases without strength training in comparison to muscle mass increasing. But what it meant then is that when I got back to the gym, I was stronger and I could focus more on lifting heavier weights to help me put on muscle mass. But as I've said, it's been a weird, tricky road. So when I got to March, where the Open was, and I wasn't training, well, I was training once a week and injury, and then it ended up being basically 5 weeks off training, I'd still be in a very high surplus, but I won't be moving as much. So all of the body weight I put on in that period was quite quick, I've noticed, but it was pretty much all in body fat. And again, it's not a bad thing, but I'm just trying to make you guys and myself understand that that's what happened. It turned from a clean bulk because I was training and eating better to a dirty bulk because of the opposite. So prioritize your strength training, scheduling what you need to do. Again, this is a really big tip. Make sure your training plans are all sorted, you're monitoring your progressive overload to get stronger, and you're moving from there. Tip number 4 for your mental health whilst putting on weight, and it can be for losing weight as well, is to understand that there will be good and bad days. There will be days where you get up in the morning, you want to eat breakfast. There will be days where you don't. There will be days where you can't be bothered to eat. There will be days where you want to eat a lot more. You've got to basically, with this, take the rough with the smooth and understand that in your bulk, it's the calories which happen at the end of the week. So for the whole week, that's what matters, not just one day. So if you have a bad day, you don't hit heavy lifts, you don't eat as well, you know, it's fine. That's a big tip for understanding that. It happens to all of us. It's happened to me quite a bit. I would wake up some mornings and not eat breakfast, and that happened for quite a period of time. So I'd have a little bit more throughout the day and stuff myself with not necessarily good foods, and then it would be happening to affect my training, so I wouldn't want to train as much, and again that affects muscle mass increase. And that's how it works, people. We got to make sure that each day we're looking positive into things and it knowing that it will happen. Tip 5, probably one of the most important things, you want to set yourself some goals. Now I set myself a goal of wanting to get to 80 kilograms, so I hit that, and now I want to get to 85 and see how I feel. And again, as mentioned in a previous tip, you can do this if you are smart enough and you understand that your weight will fluctuate. You're not going to get addicted to looking at the scales and going with how you feel. So if you are to set body weight goals, just be a bit cautious. But again, it's a great way to monitor and to keep you on track for your bulking season, which in my opinion is the best season of them all. And 2 little random tips to help you with getting more food inside of you. So if you are struggling with a low appetite, you can't store as much food in you. It does happen. I can now eat a lot of food at once, but I never used to be able to. So one of my little tactics is have half a pint of water 30 minutes before your food. It will help with digestion and clearing your stomach. And then eat your protein first before your carbs. Protein takes longer to digest, I think that's right. Takes longer to digest, so you won't have that feeling of fullness quicker. Whereas carbs will fill you up very quickly if you eat them first. So my advice on that, have your water half an hour before and eat your protein before you eat the rest of your meal. So basically putting all of those tips and tricks together has got me to a very comfortable place of putting on 15 kilograms of total body weight, which I'm extremely happy with. Again, I do want to get to 85 and see how I feel, and that's when I'll start to change composition. Now, as I've said, the clean bulk, whatever, I eat to enjoy food, I eat to have a balance. So whether I'm eating really well, inconsistent or whatever, I'm happy that I'm just eating. I just know when I get to that 85, I'll be a lot stricter on my foods. That's my advice on bulking. It's enjoyable, it's really fun, and I hope this was helpful to you too. So if you did enjoy this video of me rambling on about my lifestyle and how I've got to this body weight, then hit the thumbs up. And as always, if you're not already, subscribe down below. But peace, thanks for watching.